So we are in the World Soil Museum, as you can see, and the World Soil Museum is found on the campus here in Wageningen, and it was founded 55 years ago. And you may wonder, why do we have a World Soil Museum and why in the Netherlands and in Wageningen? Well, it was founded, as I said, in the 1960s. That was a time when there was a great concern about food security in relation to population growth. So the question was, can we feed the growing world population? And at that time there was a big international effort to make projections of the potential growth of food production to feed the world. And for that a good base of information on soils was needed. And in the 60s FAO and UNESCO started a big project that was to map the soils of the world at the global level. And at that time we were founded, and this museum was founded to have a reference collection, a scientific collection that is representative for soils all over the world, and to show examples of the legend of the soil map of the world. So here in the museum we see the major soil types that you find on the map of the world, and we try to explain world soil geography. Okay, so when we talk about soil, we speak about the first few meters of the Earth crust, so the real outer part of the terrestrial part of Earth, and that part is under the influence of formative factors, so factors that influence the source material in which soils are formed. And we distinguish 5 soil-forming factors. Climate is an important explanatory variable for soils that we find around the world. Climate, landscape position, so if soils are on the steep slopes or in the valley floors where soil material accumulates. Organisms mix dead plant and animal material with mineral parts of the soil. Parent material, so the starting material in which soils form, so whether it's volcanic ashes, river sediments or degrading rock. And time, because soils continue to change over time. They're not stable, they continue to change under the influence of the soil forming factors, although it's often under a longer time scale, so it's difficult to observe those changes. So now let's have a look at climate as an important soil forming factor. There are many soils around the world that we find, and in specific climate zones we find particular soils. So if you look on this wall, we have the soils from the humid tropics where yellow and red colors dominate. When we look at hyper-arid regions, so the very dry regions of the world, we have the deserts. That's where we find yellow and white spots in the profile pointing to salt accumulation. So accumulation of salts provoked by the upward movement of water in very dry areas. Then if we look at the temperate area and subtropics, we find a mix of colors, and there other processes dominate within that particular climate. So we have clay movement, we have potsolization, so again movement of particles through sandy soils, sandy substrate under the influence of rainfall. And then if we go to the right part of the climate wall, we see brownish colors dominating, and that points to yet another process, accumulation of organic matter because of coldness in the area and bioturbation, so mixing of high biomass development in the steppes, for instance, in the prairies, where organic matter accumulates in the profile. So what we see is between climate zones there are important processes, soil processes that dominate within particular climates.